Hari Om. Let us now continue with Swamiji's summary of Tattvabodha. Swamiji said that there are three entities. One is the microcosm, the individual, the macrocosm, the universe, and a third entity that is generally ignored, which is the Vyashti, Vyashti micro and Samashti macro, Yatirikta consciousness. Despite being insentient, both micro matter and macro matter can reflect consciousness. The important point to note here is that there is neither micro consciousness nor macro consciousness. There is only one consciousness. The differences are in the reflecting media. There is no another important sentence. This is another important sentence coming up. There is no vyashti samashti bheda in consciousness. There is no vyashti samashti bheda in consciousness. These are the points that are going to be elaborated later in the advanced texts. So it is worth the while to spend quality time in internalizing these messages and making them our own. There is no vyashti samashti bheda in consciousness. Again, Swamiji goes back to the example of electricity and bulbs. Electricity is one. Electricity is one. Whether the bulb is a 5 or 5,000 watts, a bedroom light or a searchlight. Electricity is one. Whether the bulb is 5 or 5,000 watts, a bedroom light or a searchlight. As consciousness operates through the microcosm and macrocosm, it becomes influenced by the inherent properties of these media. As consciousness operates through the microcosm and macrocosm, it becomes influenced by the inherent properties of these media, resulting in a distorted expression of consciousness, which we term reflected consciousness. Consciousness becomes influenced by the inherent properties of these media, resulting in a distorted expression of consciousness, which we call reflected consciousness. Swamiji asks, do you remember the terms OC, original consciousness? This OC becomes RC, reflected consciousness, at the micro and macro levels. Micro RC and macro RC. The reflected consciousness inevitably suffers from distortions in both media. Due to the relative crudeness in the micromedium, the reflection becomes distorted, acquiring lower grade qualities. This section is the most important section, the central section of the entire Vedantic teaching. We must listen carefully and understand and register these teachings once and for all. The reason why Swamiji encourages students to revisit Tattvabodha is because while studying such important portions, it is likely that a student may have overlooked certain vital sections or statements that the Guru made during the class. Revisiting Tattvabodha will help to connect the dots and complete the picture, although not maybe in a single revisit, probably requiring a couple of revisits to get the total picture. Maybe some students will be able to achieve it in one go. There are some other students who may not be able to do so, but even if you have been a student for a long time, it is quite interesting to relook at these portions which were studied earlier and enjoy studying them again. So, the reflected consciousness inevitably suffers from distortions in both media due to the relative crudeness in the micromedium. The reflection becomes distorted, acquiring lower grade qualities. In Sanskrit, Nikrishta upadhitvat Nikrishta gunaha. Nikrishta upadhitvat Nikrishta gunaha. The next question is, what guna does the original consciousness have? Swamiji asks, do you remember? It has no gunas. It has no gunas. OC is nirguna. OC is nirguna. It would be interesting to recall Swamiji's Om Act acronym in this context, in which he differentiates the natures of anatma and atma. And one of the points of differentiation was in terms of the gunas. The letter A in Om Act stood for attributes. And Swamiji said anatma is saguna, whereas atma is nirguna. Incidentally, Om Act translates into O for observable, M for material, A for attributed, C for change, and T for temporariness. In Sanskrit, drishyatvam, bhautikatvam, sagunatvam, savikaratvam, and agamapayitvam as applicable to anatma. Whereas Atma's features are described as non-omact, which translates to non-observable, non-material, spiritual. A, non-A, non-attributed. C for change, unchangeable. And T for temporariness, non-temporary, non-arriving and departing. In Sanskrit, adrishyatvam, abhautikatvam, agunatvam or nirgunatvam, avikaratvam or nirvikaratvam, and anagamapayitvam. Anagamapayitvam is non-temporary, meaning not subject to arrival, and departure, meaning eternal or permanent. So here, OC is nirguna. It is the upadhi that has all the gunas. And it seems as if OC, when associated, when reflected through the upadhis, seems to take on the attributes of the upadhis. OC by itself is nirguna. It has neither inferior nor superior properties. OC has neither superior nor inferior properties. Very important. It is free of properties and attributes. When consciousness manifests in the Nikrishta Upadhi, it is endowed, or shall we say, seemingly gets endowed. It cannot be, uh, it doesn't have attributes of its own. The attributes of the reflecting media are superimposed on the reflected consciousness due to ignorance. So it is free of properties and attributes. When consciousness manifests in the Nikrishta Upadhi, it is endowed with, or shall we say, seemingly endowed with inferior attributes and named Jiva. When consciousness manifests in the Nikrishta Upadhi, it is endowed with inferior attributes named Jiva. Very interesting topic. Very interesting for me revisiting these portions because it results in enormous clarity and serves as a nididhyasanam when I read through these portions. We will pick up the thread of Swamiji's summary of Tattvabodha in the upcoming capsules and take it forward with all gusto. Hari Om. Om. दुर्जन सज्जनो भूयाद सज्जन शांति माप्नुयाद शांतो मुच्येत बंधेभ्यः मुक्तश्चान्यान् विमोचयेत सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ